Hi, and welcome to The Bottom Line. I'm Pastor Paul Steele from Bethlehem Church in Austin, Minnesota. Now, The Bottom Line is our weekly summary of the previous Sunday's sermon. And if you've been following along with us, you know we've been in this sermon series looking at a few of the Proverbs. Now, Proverbs are short, memorable statements designed to give guidance to people's lives. In other words, they're there to help provide wisdom in how we live our lives on a day-to-day basis. Now, the definition we've been using for wisdom is that wisdom is godly knowledge for living life well. See, we live in God's world. He created it. And so if we're going to live well in God's world, then we need the wisdom that He provides, that He gives. And one of the big areas that we need wisdom is in the area of friendships. All of us have friends, the people that we spend time with, people that we enjoy, and we need to know, how do we live within these relationships? Because our friends influence us and we influence our friends. Proverbs chapter 12, verses 25 and 26 says, "Worry weighs a person down. An encouraging word cheers a person up. The godly give good advice to their friends. The wicked lead them astray." So we want to be good friends, friends that give an encouraging word, friends that give good advice and don't lead others astray. So our bottom line from Sunday was this: God's people live with wisdom in their friends, in their friendships, when they represent Jesus to their friends. God's people live with wisdom in their friendships when they represent Jesus to their friends. Well, how do we go about doing that? How do we go about being good, godly friends? Well, to answer that question, we looked at Colossians chapter 3, verses 12 through 17. And here Paul is addressing how Christians should live with one another. And so he says that as Christians, we should live as God's holy people. We should live with mercy and kindness and be forgiving. And most of all, we should be people of love. So we need to live as God's holy people, but we also, Paul says, should be guided by the Holy Spirit. We should let God's Spirit fill us with peace. We should let God's Spirit give us truth, so that we have words of counsel and words of instruction to give. And when we live as God's people, when we're guided by God's Spirit, then we're able to live as representatives of Jesus. We're able to live as representatives of Jesus. And in that way, we represent Jesus. We demonstrate God's character to our friends. So remember, our bottom line is God's people live with wisdom in their friendships when they represent Jesus to their friends. And our challenge this week is to show kindness to a friend. Maybe you need to write them an encouraging note. Maybe you surprise them with a meal. Maybe you're at a store and you see something that reminds you of them, and so you buy it and give them this unexpected gift. Show kindness to a friend this week. Hey, I invite you to join us on Sunday mornings in person next to Ellis Middle School here in Austin, Minnesota. You can join us on YouTube or on Facebook for our live stream at 10:30. And if you need prayer, let me know. Send us a note. I'd be glad to pray for you. And if you want to know more about Bethlehem, follow us on Facebook. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week, and God bless.